to Through the Bible. Let us begin with our next book, 2 Samuel today, and listen to the stories of King David and his people. The Shepherd King, 2 Samuel chapters 1 to 7. When Saul was killed and the Israelites so badly defeated by the Philistines, David, with all his people, settled in the cities of Hebron. There the men of Judah came to him and anointed him king over their tribe. David was 30 years old when he became king. For 7 years and 6 months, David reigned in Hebron as king of Judah. In the meantime, the uncle of Saul, who had been the commander of his army, made one of Saul's sons king over all the tribes of Israel in the north. This man was called Ishbosheth, which means man of shame. Under Abner's influence, a very unhappy civil war broke out between David's people and the people of Ishbosheth. That meant there were 2 kingdoms in the land. But David's kingdom became stronger and stronger, while Ishbosheth's kingdom weakened, and later the northern kingdom collapsed. After the death of Ishbosheth, the leaders of all the tribes came to see David in Hebron and asked him to be their king. And that day, David made an agreement with them and reigned for 33 years over the whole land. David did not become king over a happy and peaceful nation. The people were recovering from a civil war, and the Philistines were still their enemy, and a very strong enemy too. In the land, there were also small areas still occupied by heathen tribes who had never been driven out as God had commanded. One of these groups, the Jebusites, lived in Jerusalem. The Israelites stormed Mount Zion and the walls of the fort on the top and drove out the Jebusites. From that day on, Jerusalem was the capital of the land, and David set about building a great city there. Hiram, king of Tyre, sent cedar wood to David, as well as men to help build a palace for him. Now the Philistines decided, when they heard that David had become king of Israel, that they should make an end of him quickly. Their warriors poured into the valley of Rephaim, a little way to the south of Jerusalem. There David and his men met them and defeated them very heavily. They fled in such a panic-stricken way that they even left behind their wooden idols which David had burned. But that was not the end of the struggle. The Philistines came again into the valley of Rephaim. Once again David went first to pray and to hear whether God wanted him to attack the Philistines. This time he received a strange answer. He must not attack the Philistines directly, but lead his army around behind them until he came to a thick wood of mulberry trees. There the army must wait until they heard a rustling in the tops of the trees. Then they must move quickly to attack the Philistines, because that sound would mean that the Lord himself was going ahead of them. David did exactly as God had said, and that day the Philistines were not only defeated but also driven right back into their own land along the coast. Now for a long time the Ark of the Covenant had not been honored in Israel as it should have been, and David decided that it should be brought from Kiriath Jearim to Mount Zion, to a new tent or tabernacle of worship which would be set up there. The ark had been kept safely in the home of Abinadab, and now thousands of the Israelites went with David to fetch it to the new capital. The ark was placed on a new cart, and this cart was driven by Uzzah and Ahio, the sons of Abinadab, while ahead went a large number of the Israelites, playing on musical instruments and singing and dancing with joy. But on the journey, something unhappy happened. When the cart reached the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen jolted it, and Uzzah reached out to hold on to the ark to steady it. Immediately, he fell down dead. When David saw this happen, he was afraid and no longer wanted to take the ark to Jerusalem. Instead, he took it into the house of Obed-Edom the Gittite and left it there. But instead of the ark causing unhappiness and sorrow there, in 3 months the news was brought to David that the Lord was blessing Obed-Edom and his family very much. When he heard that, he was reassured and went back to the house of Obed-Edom to fetch the ark to Jerusalem with joy. But this time he would do it the way God had instructed Moses it should be moved. No one but the Levites would carry the ark of God, David announced. The Lord chose them to carry the ark and minister before him. When the Levites had carried the ark for 6 steps, David made sacrifices to God. David asked the Levites to choose the musicians to make a joyful sound with lyres, harp, and cymbals. The musicians were led by Heman, Asaph, and Ethan. The Levites were clothed in fine white linen, as was David. Kenaniah was in charge of the choir, who led the singing. The people of Israel brought the ark to Jerusalem with shouts of joy and the sound of the tambourines, trumpets, cymbals, lyres, and harps. As the ark of the covenant was entering Jerusalem, David's wife Michal, daughter of Saul, watched from a window. When she saw David dancing and celebrating, she despised him in her heart. They brought the ark and set it inside the tent that David had pitched for it. David sacrificed burnt offerings and fellowship offerings and blessed everyone in the name of the Lord. He gave a loaf of bread, a cake of dates, and a cake of raisins to each person in the crowd. Then everyone returned home. When David went home to his wife Michal, she said, "Is it right for the king of Israel to behave as any common person would in full view of the slave girls and servants?" David replied, "I was before the Lord, who chose me to rule Israel, and I will celebrate before him." After this, there was a time of peace for all Israel. David lived quietly in his palace, and God was worshipped in the tabernacle. But David was not altogether happy. It seemed to him wrong that he should live in a palace lined with cedar wood, while the ark of the Lord stood in a tent. When he told this to Nathan the prophet, Nathan said to him that he should go on with his plan to build a better home for the ark, and the Lord would bless him. But that night God spoke to Nathan, giving him a message for David. He said, "From the days that I led my people out of Egypt, the ark of my presence has stood only in a tent, and I have never told my people that they should build me a house of cedar wood. But in David's heart I have such honor that he wants to do this for me. David, I took you from herding sheep and made you king over my people and cut down your enemies before you. Now, because you have obeyed me, I shall establish your family as the royal family of Israel. When you die, your son will become king, and he will build me a house. To you and your children and your seed after you, I shall give the throne and the kingdom forever. In this promise, God was telling beforehand of the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ, who would be a son, a descendant of David, and who is King of kings and Lord of lords, the ruler of heaven and earth.